Welcome to the Sports Talk Nation, everybody. Michael Cohen here with you. Now, on today's vlog, we're going to start talking about some football. Yes, football. As the NFL season is just around the corner, training camp has opened, and a lot of teams have already reported and begun practices in training camp. So, what we're going to do this year, a little bit different than what we did last year. Last year, we did some capsules on a number of teams throughout the month of August. We'll do that again this year, but considering time and everything, it's very hard to cover all 32 teams. Plus, we still have baseball season to talk about. We got the trade deadline coming up as well. So, one of the new aspects that I'm going to do here on the program is kind of talk about some of the key issues for each division. So, take, for example, today's show. We're going to talk about the AFC East. So, we're going to talk about those four teams, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots. We'll talk about some of their big question marks and what we have to look forward to going into this season. It's not going to be a full capsule, but just kind of a mini preview, if you will, for all 8 divisions in the National Football League. We'll still do some capsules. We'll still focus on a number of teams for specific shows, but we'll do this as well. So let's kick things off right now with the AFC East. And, of course, the big topic of discussion here at the AFC East is the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots have dominated this division going back to 2001. They've won that division every single year since that time, except for 2 years, 2002 when the Jets won it, and 2008 when the Dolphins won it. Other than that, it's been a Patriots division all the time. We all know about the success they've had with winning 5 Super Bowls, getting to the big game 8 times under the Brady-Belichick regime. But last year, we saw the regime start to come apart a little bit. For the first time, we saw some divisiveness, a power struggle, as Brady was upset with the Patriots keeping Jimmy Garoppolo around. He wanted him out of town because he wants to still be the quarterback. I mean, he himself has said he wants to play well into his 40s. He's now 41 this year. And the rumor at the time was that he asked Robert Kraft to force a trade of Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick didn't want that. He wanted to keep Garoppolo. He wanted Garoppolo to be the face of the franchise moving forward. He saw a lot of potential there, but because of the pressure he got from his owner, made the trade. That was the belief at the time, made the trade, or even made the trade to spite the Patriots for that matter and put them in a bad situation. So there was so much chatter about power struggles at the time. You have to wonder moving forward whether that's going to carry over this year. Of course, the bigger story is the fact that you have a quarterback in Tom Brady who is another year older at 41 years old. Can he? And look, he's one of the greatest of all time. A lot of people think he is the greatest of all time. But can he now at age 41 keep this going and continue to play at a high level? You know, at some point he's going to hit a wall. So when that happens, the Patriot dynasty is going to come to an end. We are closer to the end of the Patriot run than we are to seeing this continue for a few more years. So that is why this division, the AFC East, is so interesting going into this season. You know, not only do we have the issues with Belichick and Brady, but you also take a look what you have in the field. Rob Gronkowski coming off of a year where he thought about retirement, had the concussion after the AFC Championship game against Jacksonville last year. You know, I would expect to see him have a big year this year, but you know that's going to be an issue moving forward. Who's going to be Brady's protection on the left side of the offensive line? Who's going to protect his blind side with Nate Soldier, now member of the New York Giants? Julian Edelman coming back off of injury, but he's going to have a 4-game suspension to start the year, and you know the Patriots don't have Danny Amendola around anymore. So there are questions. Now the one thing about the Patriots is they always find a way. Right? They always find a way to overcome any kind of adversity that faces them. They find ways to get their 12 wins and be done with it. And until someone in this AFC East goes out there and knocks the Patriots off their pedestal, it's hard for me not to say that the Patriots can't go out there and repeat. You know, let's take a quick look here. Here are the standings last year in the AFC East. You take a look. You see the Patriots there at 13-3. Buffalo was 9-7 last year, snuck into the playoffs at the end of the season last year. The Dolphins were 6-10 with Jay Cutler coming in for an injured Ryan Tannehill, and the Jets were 5-11 as they were tearing things apart and trying to put themselves in position to rebuild. And now going into this year, there's optimism for a couple of those teams, especially Buffalo and the Jets, but I don't think they're there just yet. So for me, going into this year, I still have to like what the Patriots can do. Yes, I understand Brady's another year older, but it's still Tom Brady. He can still go out there and get the job done. They'll find somebody, they're going to find somebody to take care of the fact that they have no Danny Amendola for the first 4 games. They'll find, or no Julian Edelman, I should say, for the first 4 games. Chris Hogan's probably going to step up and be a big time contribute even more this year. They also went out there in the draft. They drafted Sonny Michel, who they like a lot, to be a running back and give a little bit of a break to Tom Brady, especially there in the backfield. He's going to try not to get him hit as often with a big running back out of Georgia and Michel. So that's a good pickup right there. So the Patriots are a team that always tries to evolve. They always do every year. The question is, how much longer can this continue for them? Now, as I just alluded to, the other three teams, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Bills, can one of those teams go out there and do something to knock the Patriots off the map? I don't think they can. I don't think there's a team in this division that can do that. Now, the Dolphins coming into this year, to me, they have a lot of questions. You know, they coming off of a 6-10 season last year. You have a quarterback in Ryan Tannehill who was coming off of major knee surgery last year. Where is he going to be as he's coming back? And I'll be honest, I've never been a big Ryan Tannehill fan. I've never been a big fan of his. Now, yes, I know he's a pretty good quarterback. He does have a high completion percentage. But beyond that, he's been a guy who turns the ball over a lot. He gets hit a lot, takes a lot of sacks. I've never been a big fan of his. So to me, not only does he have to come back from this major knee injury, but he's got to show that he can be the franchise for this team moving forward. And the Dolphins have every reason to go out there and hope that he does become that franchise guy and stay as that franchise guy, because keep in mind, they didn't go out there and draft a quarterback the way the Jets and the Bills did this offseason. So they're putting all their money and all their chips into Ryan Tannehill's basket, and they have a lot of reasons to do that, mainly because next year he's due a base salary of $18 million. And then the year after that, he's due a base salary of $19 million. Now, that could either get restructured. His price tag is going to go up. It's just going to keep going up and up. So the Dolphins really hope that this is the year that Tannehill steps up. Beyond that, the Dolphins made a lot of changes in the offseason. They sent Jarvis Landry packing to the Cleveland Browns. He is now out of town. They cut Ndamukong Suh, who's now with the Rams, and Mike Pouncey, the center, got released. So there were a number of changes that Miami made to their football team as they try and get a little bit younger. They did bring in Danny Amendola, who was with the Patriots. They also signed an aging Frank Gore, which I don't know what he can do at this point in his career. I do like the kid they drafted, the tight end they drafted out of Penn State. I think he's going to be good. He looks like a big-time player. And I don't know if that's going to be enough for them to really do a lot of damage, especially against a team like New England. I just don't think that this is a team right now, Miami, that is ready to contend. That doesn't mean that, when we get into the season, when the season starts rolling, that, they get hot, they win a couple in a row, and hey, now we're talking about the Dolphins. But I just don't see it right now here for Miami as we begin training camp here in 2018. But that is going to be the big question mark with them is, can some of these new pieces fit in well? Can Ryan Tannehill step it up after that knee injury from last year? And even for Adam Gase, a lot of people thought Adam Gase was the next Don Shula a couple of years ago. That's how they was getting talked up. And last year to go 6-10, you know what? The jury is still out on Adam Gase as far as I'm concerned. What kind of year is he going to have as a head coach is going to be a big impact on whether he's going to still be a part of this team or whether he's going to be the head coach moving forward for this team. So Dolphins have a lot of question marks going into this year. Now for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are in an interesting situation here, folks, because here's the team that got to the playoffs last year, snuck in, they won 9 games last season, and they decided to move on from Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. Now, I know Tyrod Taylor's not Tom Brady, okay? He's not Peyton Manning. He's not a big-time quarterback, so I understand where the Bills were going there. They wanted to go out there and address this position that's been really a nightmare, a conundrum for the Bills since Jim Kelly retired after the 1996 season. They really have not had a franchise guy. I know they had a nice cup of tea with Doug Flutie for a season or two, but other than that, it hasn't been a whole heck of a lot of success for the Bills at the quarterback position for a very long time. Now, this year, you get the sense that this could be kind of a transition year. I think the Bills are a team that certainly is on the rise. I certainly like what they did last season, but I do think that with a new quarterback now, a new quarterback situation taking place here, the legal situation with LaShawn McCoy, that has to play itself out. I'm not going to sit here and make predictions about that. I don't know what's going to happen. Of course, with the whole thing with what may or may not have happened with his girlfriend, but that has to play out on its own. We'll see what the NFL decides to do with him at some point down the road. Right now, we have to assume that he's going to play at running back for the Bills, but the quarterback situation, you feel, is going to probably force the Bills to take a bit of a step back this year. They bring in A.J. McCarron, who was the backup quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals for whatever reason, a lot of people love A.J. McCarron. I'm not a big... I got to see more from A.J. McCarron before I go out there and say that he's going to be a good, solid quarterback. Now, I know he had a nice little run there for the Bengals a couple of years ago. Probably should have... The Bengals should have won that playoff game against Pittsburgh. To me, McCarron is a guy who is more of a stopgap. He's not an answer here for the Buffalo Bills. We all know the answer for the Bills is going to be Josh Allen, who just signed his 4-year contract. So the big question for the Bills is, how soon can they get Josh Allen on the field for this football team? And when he does get on the field, because right now the assumption is going to be he's going to be opening as the third-string quarterback here for the season behind McCarron and Nathan Peterman, who was a complete disaster last year with all the interceptions he threw in that game against the Los Angeles Chargers. Where do they feel comfortable? Where does Sean McDermott feel comfortable inserting Josh Allen into this lineup, and where they will be as far as their schedule is concerned? So that's the thing we have to watch here with the Bills. If the Bills get off to a slow start this year, and they have a tough schedule, and you'll see the schedule pop up there right now. There it is. There's a schedule, opening up with Baltimore on the road. They play the Chargers again. They get the Vikings and the Packers back-to-back weeks on the road. You get Houston, Indianapolis, New England all in a row there. So these are not going to be easy games at all. You have Jacksonville later in the year. So if the Bills get off to a rough start, let's just say, I don't know, they're 1-3, 2-5, whatever it is that the time that the Bills decide, okay, let's pull the plug on A.J. McCarron and go with Josh Allen? That's what we have to watch here, folks. And if McCarron plays well, and this Bills team plays well, and they kind of pick up from where they left off last season, then the process to see Josh Allen is going to be put on hold, maybe till the end of the year, maybe until next year. So that's really where the Bills are at this point in time. I think in some respects it's kind of a rebuilding year for them in that regard, and that's why I'm not so sold on them being able to go back there and repeat as a 9-7 playoff team this year. I think it's going to be tough for them, especially with that schedule and some of the things we just talked about. Now, these concerns that the Bills have also pertain to what's going on with the New York Jets. Now, oddly enough with the Jets, I don't know what's going on here with Sam Darnold. Now, I've heard talk about that he will get a contract that's a 4-year deal, about $30 million, but they haven't agreed to any terms yet. As of 7:30 here on the 26th of July, as far as I know, there has been no contract agreement between the Jets and Sam Darnold. So right now, he is technically holding out. Oh my goodness! But the Jets have gotten a lot of good pub, and it's kind of ironic because a year ago at this time, everyone was talking about how the Jets were going to be horrible in 2017. They were going to go 1-15 or 0-16. They were going to be awful. Instead, they went 5-11. Now all the talk is how optimistic everything is and how great everything is, and the Jets finally have the franchise quarterback and yada yada. And I even hear people saying this team can go out there and win 10 games. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit on the Jets winning 10 games. Let's pump the brakes a little bit here on the Jets being a playoff team or even being a 500 team. Heck, I'll say it right now. Let's see the Jets go out there and win 7-8 games before we go out there and say that they can be a playoff team. Yes, they may have answered their quarterback problems by going out there and drafting Sam Darnold. I think he is eventually going to be the quarterback for this team. But right now, going into this year, you have to think with Todd Bowles in a situation, being a coach who has come off of back-to-back 5-11 seasons. Is he going to want to start a rookie quarterback right away? The only way he would is if Darnold goes out there and blows the competition away. That's the only way I can see it happening. So to me, I think the question is, how quickly does Darnold, one, get onto the field with this contract situation? Two, how quickly does he take things and pick up things in this offense? And does he do enough to beat out Josh McCown and Teddy Bridgewater? Ideally for the Jets, and it's even the same thing for the Bills. Ideally for the Bills, let's go back there, they want to see A.J. McCarron start. Ideally for the Jets, they want Teddy Bridgewater to start for them, week 1 in Detroit. And I know Josh McCown has been the incumbent quarterback, and he's been around a long time, and he's the veteran, 38 to 39 years old. I get all that. But Teddy Bridgewater, if he does show signs that he can play again, and that he can be even half the player he was in Minnesota a couple years ago before the knee injury, the Jets should consider making him the starter. I know there's a lot of talk about maybe trading him as a piece sometime this summer. I don't know if that would be too smart of an idea. But the Jets are in a situation where they're kind of in a holding pattern right now as far as the quarterback situation is concerned. Certainly a better quarterback room than they've had in quite some time. Compared to last year's quarterback room with McCown and Christian Hackenberg and Bryce Petty, and even go back years, the last few years of guys like Sanchez and Geno Smith. No, this quarterback room is a much better quarterback room than it was in the past. But I'm not ready to sit here and crown the Jets as a contender at this point in time. I still have questions about the running game. I don't think it's very good. Elijah McGuire's got to step it up. Bilal Powell's a good third down back. They don't have a featured back. I thought they should have gotten one in the draft. If not in the free agency, they didn't do that. Their offensive line is going to be a question mark. Now, I know they did make some strides to try and improve that, bringing in Spencer Long and James Carpenter. But again, we got to go out there and see how that offensive line gels for the Jets. The offensive line was a big question mark last year, end of last year, going into the offseason. And again, they try to address it with some free agency signings. We'll see how that works out. So I have questions there. The tight end situation is going to be a big question mark for them as well. So this is not a perfect team. The only position that I like for this Jets team is the receiving core with Robbie Anderson, if he can stay out of legal trouble, Quincy Enunwa, who's coming back off of an injury, and Jermaine Kearse. Outside of the receiving core, there's not a lot to talk about with the Jets right now at this point. And we'll see where they are. And again, as I said before, how this thing progresses for the Jets this year is going to determine whether Tom Bowles is going to be back next year. It's going to be back in 2019, I should say, because I know he got a contract extension last year, at the end of last year, but there's not too many coaches who go. Let's just say the Jets go 6-10, and I'll show you the schedule. There's the schedule right there. There's not many coaches who go, let's say 6-10 this year, and let's just say end up losing 32 games in 3 years and come back for a fourth year. Doesn't happen very often. So for me, Tom Bowles has to win, I would imagine, 8-9 games just to come back. I don't know if this team is good enough to win 8-9 games right now. I really don't. They're better. They're just not there yet. So the Jets are on their way. They're just not there yet. And that's really the way this whole division is, folks. I mean, here I'm going to even put up the my projected standings. You see there, New England at 12-4. I have the Dolphins 7-9. Jets 6-10, Bills 5-11. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be exactly that. My prediction could change by the end of the summer. We'll see. This is just starting a training camp, but you know what? You have three teams that are trying to get there. I think the Bills and the Jets are on their way, but they're not there yet. The Dolphins, like I said, they tore apart a lot of their team from last year. They got a lot of question marks. I don't know if they're really there yet. I don't know if they're another year away from being in the mix again. I still have a lot of concerns there. So, again, that could change. But my point is, this is still New England's division. It's still the Patriots' division. They're going to probably win 5 or 6 games in the division again this year, even with all the drama that's going on up there in New England. And then after this year, whether Brady retires or not or whatever, I think then going into a second year of Josh Allen in Buffalo, a second year of Sam Darnold in New York with the Jets, then we can start to have this real conversation about who can overtake the Patriots in the AFC East. This year, I don't think we can have that conversation right now. So for right now, I still say the AFC East belongs to the New England Patriots. Remember, folks, follow us on the social media at OpenMicNJ on Twitter and also on Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram. And remember to like and subscribe right here on the Sports Talk Nation on YouTube. We'll talk to you next time.